Hey, what's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm going to be talking about another film that was released exclusively to theaters a couple months back. Wish I saw it then, but I live over 100 miles away from the closest movie theater, and even if I was across the street from a theater, I still probably wouldn't go because there's still a pandemic ravaging the country. But this is Escape Room: Tournament of Champions. Escape Room: Tournament of Champions pins the winners of previous escape rooms together in an all-out battle royale to find out who's the best of the best. Will our heroes from the first film live to see another day in order to take down this elusive company that's killing multiple people? Only time can tell. So, right off the bat, this is a series that, going in, it's nothing that's meant to be seen as a masterpiece or, even a must-watch. For me, I've always liked the first movie because, plain and simply, it's fun. That's it. It's a guilty pleasure series, to be sure. And this sequel literally adds nothing new to the mix. Let's get that right out of the way. This is just more of the same. Different riddles, clues, rooms, and characters, yes, but it's the same format and structure, while nothing new is really learned as far as the overall narrative or mystery goes. If you like the first, you'll like the sequel. If you hated the first, you'll more than likely hate this even more because it's not as fresh. And yeah, I definitely like the first film more, but this is indeed a close second. The riddles are still clever, the production design of the rooms are still pretty neat, though I'll admit I prefer the first film's design of the rooms more. My favorite room that they have to escape in this movie, though, if I had to pick, would be the picturesque living postcard beach that they end up in. Now, that was pretty cool. But my biggest gripe with the movie as a whole was that it felt so much more like a gimmick here than it ever did with the first. That first film, it was a constant battle. Yes, they were always trying to find a new way to escape a room, but that was also because they were absolutely at a loss as to who the man behind the curtain was, so to speak. That wasn't as much of a mystery here. In fact, they unveil that curtain right off the bat in the beginning of this movie, and even a good portion of this film as a whole is told through the lens or the perspective of the bad guys. And it just lessened the effectiveness of the thrills or the mystery here. I feel like it was almost alluded to in the first movie that the bad guys were aliens. Maybe I totally misread that, but the bad guys at the end of that first film were talking about human beings as interesting creatures that they were essentially performing tests on. That does not sound like your typical human bad guy at all. But that's essentially what you have in this movie, and it suddenly seemed way too grounded and illogical. Aliens I could get behind. Some random dude, on the other hand, I just couldn't buy into it. So it almost seems like they retconned a few ideas that the first film set forth. Overall, there's really not much more to talk about when it comes down to this movie. It's totally fine. It is. It follows the first film almost to a T in structure. Again, the game has changed only in the theme of the rooms, but that's it. The technical side of the film is essentially identical to that of the first, as it's basically a carbon copy, more or less. I'm not complaining, since I do like the first movie and I see that as a guilty pleasure, but a discussion-worthy film? This is not. Take that as you will, and let's go ahead and put a number to those scores. From a technical, unbiased perspective, Escape Room: Tournament of Champions is essentially everything that you expect from it, meaning that it has some decent production and set design elements in there, albeit probably not as strong as that of the first. The acting and the writing essentially are exactly the same as the first, which is fine, but it's also an uninspired film that doesn't do anything to add to what we've already seen 2 years ago in the first one. My unbiased score here is 66%. Like I said, it's not a technical Marvel film. Nobody's going to look at it and call it a masterpiece because that wasn't the point. It is, however, a guilty pleasure series that is just meant to have fun with. And I did have fun with it. So my bias score is actually at 80%, meaning that when we combine the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 73%. 73 out of 100 possible stars, or a B- letter grade. What about you guys, though? Were you a fan of the first film? And if you were, what did you think about the sequel? Was it as good? Was it better? Worse? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need